There's been so much talk about so many things and so much ground being covered. I think Dr. Jain talked about. Um, but there's no denying the need for what this statement says, that we need the art. There's no, we're all in agreement on that. I hope so. So I'm purely a brick and mortar person. So I will not dwell on what should be done, but I'm going to bring my presentation down to a very simple thing of what we could physically do. I have some observations. It's very strange when you study architecture. It's probably one of the few subjects that doesn't have a course book. They've got some Bannister Fletcher, which is really history. There isn't a course book for architecture. So you actually come out graduating as an architect knowing bits of everything. And I can't even tell you how much steel goes into a building. I really don't know the dia of the pipe that's going to take the water in or out. I know nothing. What do I know? What I've been taught is to look, observe, sift data, reprocess, and re-put it together. So it's almost like at some point I've now, after 35 years, got to realize that you're like a good doctor. 90% of my clients come and tell me this is what they want to build. If you listen carefully, they're actually telling you the pain points of their last building. They're not really telling you something new. They're telling you, I need more storage, I need this, I need more conference rooms. Those are all, they're whining. They're telling you all what they didn't have. They're not telling you what they want. And so you have an opportunity to listen to them like a good doctor, say, I know you've got a pain in your back, but it's not your back, it's actually your kidneys. So this is a nice place to be. So a day before yesterday arrived in this city, and we come out of the airport and you see this big sign saying Bhubaneswar Smart City. Big wide road, zipping along, and we begin, and I see some rocks coming out of some plants on the side of the road. And I said, interesting. And I turned around and it's gone. And I suddenly see the dichotomy of this is that we build roads to speed up traffic, and then we put art installations which we have no time to see. Seems like we missed the bus somewhere here. The truth is that, so I'll run through a couple of things that, again, like I'm saying, that I also, as an architect, I believe that most solutions lie within the problem. So wow, what pops up? What's a life full of care if you have no time to stand and stare? So where are the places to do this in this city? I mean, that was really what struck me as being relevant. So we started talking, this whole topic is about art in the smart city. I actually saw it as three parts. I see the smart city, I see art in the city, and then then we can start talking about the art in the smart city. It's an amazing thing. You go on to the smart city mission and they say they don't know what they're doing. Truly that. This is from the website of the smart city mission. And we're trying to find a solution to a statement that is yet to be defined. But it does say something nice. It says that our solution will be local, but that's all evident, isn't it? I mean, all solutions, should we be building, I loved it when Mamta Banerjee said she wants to make Kolkata into London. I was wondering what she smoked that day, But it's really true. It's absurd that we begin to want to not look at what is real and around us. But very simplistic put, so it sounds like really nice statements, but we should anyway be doing it. I mean, there's no reason we didn't do it. Let me talk to you about a small thing, and this is a nice journey that Sandeep and Jagannath put me in, coming into my office and shaking me up and making me think about it one afternoon. And that thought has gone on for the last 3 months, And when you sit down and read about craft, and craft was done to be used, and after a time, even if it was metal, it was scraped down and recast. So there was continual evolution. And I think Dr. Jain very beautifully told us, and I'm going to say something which is going to be against a lot of what artists will say, but I love the impermanence of it because it's representative of the fact that society is changing. As an architect, my presentation is going to say, almost like do nothing. But we'll come to that. Again, I love data. Maybe it's because I'm Brahmin. The, this is power. Now, information is power. This is Brahminism. Bhubaneswar Municipal Corporation, 135 kilometers, population 8.81 lakh. Historically, that's a break in the statement. Historically, 7,000 temples, live 500 temples. Today is a great day. Who woke up early? The city was just ringing with bells, and 4 in the morning. I was trying to finish my presentation. I normally don't get up at 4. But I was up, and I realized that what I felt when I looked at this data was true. The whole city was awake, and it is live. And look at the densities. I'm going to use this to actually pull out something that, and I think this city has a unique opportunity of a live culture. Most cities have become far more cosmopolitan to be able to have held it together. There are pockets, but nothing as widespread as this. So that's really the basis of what my presentation's about. So here's the statement and intent. Right at the bottom, somewhere, art is inside the little red circle called culture. That's how much space we have. So it's for us to really build the new space to do it, because the mission statement really is not inclusive. I went and, like an architect, I'll go into the plans and I look at on the side. It's not legible, but happy to share it. So here's what they're proposing as the first phase of development, and there are a series of landmarks written down on the right-hand side. Glaringly absent: museum, culture, art center, non-existent. There's markets, there are malls, but no such centers. What is true is that, therefore, our urban planners are not sensitized to this. It's not important. It's become like roti, kapda, makan, or arts. It's like but the other three are without a comma, without anything. I think it's a social problem. It has to go down to the grassroots. I liked what Sunil said, that if you are able to connect all movements, and I'm going to say this almost like a predictable architect, everything is built brick by brick. Can we make the first brick? You will not build these mega things, and I think you rightly said that museums are dead spaces. They are stillborn because they get done because there's a budget in some ministry that needs to be given out. So we've seen enough of this within our cities, right from independence. There's enough art happening. I think your Make in India is there, Sunil. So there is stuff happening. There are good instances of this happening. I want to make a point. It is successful in cities where you can walk. For all its, almost like this is like the negative turning positive, because people have to travel by a suburban and get to town, and then everybody walks at least 15 minutes to get to work. That is where the opportunity arises, not when you have build wide roads and put on the side and zip past. That whole development of along the Marine Drive, which has nice installations, nice space, it's also a place where people can pause, look, learn, agree, disagree, hate. All of it is human emotion, and they should be allowed to happen. You have to create spaces. So, there are a number of things that have happened, some modern, some contemporary, the steel garden at Ames. So there's stuff happening. I'm not saying they're not happening. But it's very interesting to watch actually that Ames circle. You go there in winter and there'll be people sleeping all around this, and it's really fantastic. That's the true value of these spaces. So you've had a Connaught Place with a huge garden on top, and it's fabulous in winter. I think we should put a public sculpture there. I don't think there is even one. Painted buildings, I think we've been doing it forever, nothing new. But some interesting projects have happened. The wall, what is it called? The wall project in Bombay. Um, it was called Mad Project, it was called Wall Project, lots of stuff happened. I think, but what I found interesting is then when that got converted into communication as social causes. Instead of a little sign, which has got a horn and a cross saying don't blow your horn or don't litter, I think it's nice when the people start doing it. But this is, according to me, this is a dangerous space because there is, I think Sunil said, there is something called too much democracy. But then you get a controlled experiment where you get this very nice part of Delhi. I'm sure, Dr. Jain, whoever was the NDMC guy at this point must have got as much flack as you for letting Ritu Kumar's thing to happen, but both of you brave people. But here is a space which is very slow. Now, it's very interesting as a demography. This is actually housing for probably class 2 or 3 level of the government. So they actually don't have the money to own cars, so they walk. And therefore it begins to happen. So there were discussions about art districts, and you have to pick a demography. You have to pick where people walk, and you can select this. Lodi Road, yes. You can pick places like this, and you can get this phenomenal. So it's not that you paint the whole city. It's not that you paint because you want to cover bad architecture. You want to cover bad concreting. No. You should do it it is a positive step. It's not a cover for something negative. It's not makeup. Well, so you see this happening, and then look what our metro is doing. There's a whole crafts museum inside a metro. Every new metro station is now becoming, so why not the Bhubaneswar station? And one of the things I really want to say as a very statement, you have enough space, you don't need to build new stuff. Use what you have first, then we'll build the new stuff, because you don't know what you need. And it's not a statement of lack of knowledge. It's because we are in transition. Well, more stuff happening. I mean, public buildings getting in art. Now, my only sad point is that this was done by Singaporean artists. We get some more experiments that happen at an urban scale. Aware of them because when I did the Transport Museum, we had a lot of them come in. Someone painted doors, someone painted trucks. We did installations. So well aware of it. But I'm enjoying the fact that things like this are happening. And the truth is, as against what Jatin just said, I love the impermanence of it. I think it should be gone in 2 years because it's boring to have the same thing. But all right, so here was what happened at ICD Delhi. Brilliant exercise. Fantastic energy. Where containers, very plebeian, and there's a reason why I'm leading you here. So as an architect, these containers weigh about 8.4 tons, extremely strong structures. And once they're no longer shipworthy, there's an opportunity, and we have Paradeep and we have containers. So herein lies the genesis of the design that I want to present. So they can take nice color, they can be painted. There's very interesting buildings being done with these worldwide. We've started to do some here. They make very sculptural forms. I also want to share it with you. It's not just because of the money. I have a reason. I will just go a little forward. They form very nice art galleries because for small art, they're so perfect. They're just 9 feet wide. You can walk down. You're 4.5 feet away from a painting, which is 2 feet by 3 feet. And I started off by saying that I think picking a word from Dr. Jain's statement is that any such event in a city is a social experiment. It is only through this social experiment will you connect, will you learn. So there's a bunch of us sitting on the first floor of an air-conditioned, fancy hotel, taking a decision on people who live out there. A little leftist here on that. But notwithstanding, I actually see that here's a potential. So, the four key issues that drive any development in this country. Land, God. Get land allocated. Build space. Growth, which means that if you don't build everything today, then your site is constantly a construction site, which is hardly conducive to being a creative or a nice space. What if you have excess space? Suppose you made a mistake and you built more than you need. You can't take it away. Repurpose. Okay, so based on, let's say, these 5 things that I want to talk about, is that I'm saying, give me 50 feet by 15 feet of land. We can build a 1200 square foot community center. I just need 15 feet by 50 feet to put it up. The nice thing is, I can build 1 floor, 300 feet, get it going. I can build the whole thing off-site. I can bring it in, I can stack it. And the nice thing is that if I find that I've overbuilt, I can just remove one and take it somewhere else. So I can reduce it. So I did 2 models. I did one model that I can slip into the old city, which is very dense. And I'm looking at a model that I can, this is, now you give me a little more space, I'll do you a double. Right? We can stack this up. There are 2 things. I am not saying this is permanent architecture, and I'll connect to why I call this a social experiment. I will also pick up from a statement that the BDA chairman made, is that, and it's true right through this country, that by the time we debate something and actually build it, like our bridges or our water supply, we've kind of, run out of the capacity, because by the time we get through with it, we've just underestimated it. Here's a way by which, and I think Europe does it very well. We have an idea, let's get a container, let's get the program going. We're not here to make buildings, we're here to get a movement going. It can be done in any space, it can be done under a tent. But you need something that's permanent, you're going to house things in it, you're going to form focuses. So, give me 70 feet by 70 feet of land and I will make you something a little more interesting. So I'll bring in one 20-foot container, I will add one more. I'll tell you how much it costs in a bit. And I add one more. And then I bring in another 40-footer. I bring in another one. And then I put a lid on it. So I get a terrace on top. So it actually grows like this. Now what's interesting here is that at the bottom of this, I get an amphitheater. So I now grow it. And of course, I can do the reverse. I can take it all down and ship it out again. So the idea being that I actually am saying that before we build the megas, we should have, or I'll tell you the cost. A used container, a 20-foot container sells for a princely sum of 30,000 rupees, and a 40-foot container is 50,000 rupees. Yeah, we'll weld them. They no longer need to go to sea. When we've done enough, we did a whole school, and the challenge was this. I have another story on this. So the first time this came up is that we were working with a round table to do a set of schools, and the challenge they always had is no one in this country, we don't give land. So when we look at a master plan, we'll find that the master planners would have allocated land for something in the future. But they will leave it blank today because there's a permanence to a building. But we can take that land for the next 10 years or 5 years, and we can actually relocate this whole thing for, and I like what Sunil said. Sunil, in the back of my mind was this very strong thing. I wanted a small ticket CSR activity. Give me 5 lakhs, I'll set up a system. You'll get that money. You go and tell somebody 2 crores to put up a center, and you do it conventionally. No, I would say very nice, but no one wants to give you money. Go for small tickets. Why don't you give me money to put up one unit, a 300 square foot one? What is the money that will be required? 1.5 lakhs? And of course, we can then get in, and I have many thoughts on this, so it's a fairly deep topic, is that you can put in solar energy. This was one idea. But this is the physical idea. I'll do one thing. We'll just run a little video and then I'll come to the smart part of it. So you get an amphitheater, you get a series of spaces, and you get an interesting, now this is straight, we can push it in angle, we can turn it around, each one can. So what I like is, I have an offering of so many surfaces for artists to paint on. And there's a tenure on it. We'll change it. We'll move it. We'll have some of these that are movable and maybe exhibitions will move. They'll cost a little money, but after a point, if you build, so just give me 5 crores, we'll build 50 of these. You know, that's the kind of numbers we're talking about. Because this will allow you to go grassroots. When it succeeds, we'll start building, but it'll take us 2 years to build anything in this country. It'll take 6 months to get some planning permission. I need no planning permissions for this. So I actually see, okay, if you take it into the community, I also have a belief that every community, there were 2-3 things that were said yesterday and they struck me as very correct, and I want to touch on one. They said, big statement on child-friendly city. So what is child-friendly? Child-friendly is whether a child can go out and do things and come back and not be harmed and the parents not freaking out. That's a child-friendly city. Actually, it's a parent-friendly city. You know, because we get so hyper, then you get these helicopter moms who just hang around the kids all the time because actually the environment is so bad. Which means that they can cycle to, so look at the density of the temple. I mean, if you could create such a density of little cultural centers, kids could go there. Every community has people who can teach some form of art, painting, music. Some have more of this, some have more of that. So you let them come and use this space. So you'll have these spaces where someone's running a painting class, someone's teaching music, someone's teaching Odysseys. It's all there. We are not enabling the teachers to come out and we're not enabling the learners to reach the teachers. The smart comes is when you connect all this off an app where you say availability, you say what's happening. You know the whole smart city looks at data collected. For example, you set up one of these units, and why I want them mobile, I set up 4 units here saying I'll run one music class, one dance class. I discover after a while that no one's doing dance. What is the big challenge we have? We don't have enough teachers. It's a problem with the education system because we're so static as to where we keep our teachers. But what if teachers, if I had 10 such centers and I had 10 teachers and they all ran classes for 2 hours and they moved within a certain, because you've got a fairly close density, they move. So he could be teaching dance here and then teaching something else, and then you multiply those hours and you suddenly discover 100 classes are running with 10 centers and 10 teachers. That's the smart. You'll need your phone to connect. So you know, I want to learn music at 3 o'clock. It's like book my show. Where is it playing at 3 o'clock? I can go there and do it. Technology is there, staring at us in the face. So this is my little idea for what I think we could do. Thank you.